Hi and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther with you on Friday, September 27th, 2024 for a reading today in honor of anybody about to go through a storm, in the middle of a storm, or in the aftermath of it. And I am referring, most on my mind, since I'm based in Florida, is the recent storm that they are naming, or have named, Hurricane Helene, that passed through. I put up a video. I took it down myself. I put one up last night. It was kind of more of an in-the-moment kind of video, just trying to connect in with the energies of the people going through the storm as it was making landfall. I have since checked in with the family and friends of friends up in the northern Florida area, and what's pretty amazing is those not too far off from the west or the east of that storm reported, not crazy high winds as kind of looked like was, reported on some of the mainstream media. I'm not saying that incredible damage didn't happen. I am just kind of questioning if the category indeed, was a true 4 or what was going on. I will say that there's a lot of evidence popping up on a lot of videos out there, YouTube videos especially, showing beam pulses to amp up and ramp up the speed of that thing last minute. That was very uncharacteristic to do, especially after, everything was being said that it was going to be category 3, 3, 3, and then suddenly it jumped up and got very amplified very strangely. So in my heart, I don't even need somebody to show me in a video proof of. I just know connected in that absolutely there's weather warfare, weather modification, weather control being employed. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. So I do want to thank everybody. If you saw my previous video, that was kind of like a call for anybody to start practicing a new technique of, instead of getting caught up in the loops of the hysteria and hypnotic stuff with the sensationalized media, with some of these storms kind of keeping you in a loop and not able to break free and, kind of connect in on good energies, to do that, unplug, just kind of see where the storm is and back out. I'm not going to go through all of that again because that is in my previous video if you want to check it out, called Calm Storm. But what I do want to say is, for anybody that did decide to try that, it was not for naught, and it was not a wasted effort. If you go, oh, well, what happened? It intensified. Well, we know it intensified by artificial means. And even if it hadn't, any good wish out there is, by even one person, just magnifies exponentially out through the world and out through into the galaxis, out into the universe. So it's never a wasted thing to wish well. Also, as I mentioned in my previous video, if you watch it, I've had success with this, dissipating the storm or moving it here or there when I connect in with the little exercise I was talking about. But in this case, it didn't do that. But what it did do is everyone I talked to, just, in and around that storm, they were all completely protected and fine. So that is the kind of the power of this. And actually, I did want to explain what's going on in the backdrop here. I, picked pieces carefully, or not carefully, they I kind of get little images of what to set out on the table each time. But before I do that, since I'm kind of losing the light, I'm at the tail end of sunset here in Miami, Florida, I want to just jump to the cards real quick and then I'll go back to the backdrop. So actually the cards I pulled, I just connected in and asked for, what does everybody need to hear right now, especially for those that have just gone through the storm or are still going through it as it makes its way up in the northern states. And actually any storms happening on the planet, and also any inner storms or storms in your life, metaphorical ones. So here we go. The cards that came out after I really connected in on that are, and I'll put the names of the decks in the description area below. And you know what, it might not focus so well now. Let me do this another way because it's getting dimmer, the light. I have a little artificial light out, but you know what, I'll have to probably just take pictures of these and I'll put them on the community page. But you can kind of see it. This one says The Giveaway. And we have a beautiful kind of winged maiden or something with maybe a flower crown. She's looking up to the light and holding a huge orb, maybe even like the sunlight. And we have other orbs that, those remind me of actually like planetary bodies. So this is just like some enormous, kind of like galactic angel being or something, reaching for the light, but she's confidently grabbing, or holding on to that orb, maybe helping balance it or stabilize it or secure it, or she's reaching to, pull it down, who knows. But let's see what comes up for the rest with the cards so we can make sense out of this, a little more sense. The middle card is Moonlight Enchantment Magic, with a beautiful full moon, a golden one, and a wolf howling at it, and number 25 or number 7. And then we have 2 cards that wanted to come out for this third position. And again, this is a kind of a collective reading. If you wanted to just pick a group 1, 2, or 3 on this, you could as well. And then this is a beautiful watercolor angel we've had before, statue saying protection. And then we have, with another orb above, kind of echoing. Actually, it's really pretty. Give me a second here. it's kind of, we've got two winged, more feminine figures, reaching, or, with orb above. Let's see what this is all about once we get there. And the last card that wanted to come out is beautiful. They look like cherry blossoms, very pink and happy. Falling down, we got a school of fish with some stars and flowers, and it says new beginning. Okay, so when we look at the overall, I just want to say at a glance, it kind of emphasizes what I was talking about before I even got to the cards. But in the first one, it says give away, and in the book, it does talk about giving freely without any expectation of getting back, receiving anything. And, coming from Florida, I'm no stranger to having going through hurricanes with power outage and everything, out, and kind of concerns with anybody looting and all of that. I've lived through that and understand that. And what I want to say is the giving without any expectation of coming back, that is what happens when you leave us human beings to our human nature. And, even if you had, say, a neighbor that was, being rude or whatever, in the times of duress and the times of, disasters or whatever you want to call them, you do see extraordinary humanity coming together to help each other out. And that's the only thing that I've seen. Also, you get to know your community better, because without electricity, everybody tends to be outside or whatever. And then actually, not ironically, but oddly enough, some really beautiful things, heart, shining out kind of moments are born when we don't even have power, in the darkest of times, so to speak. So this is just a reminder, that we are inherently gorgeous beings, light-filled beings, and do have that instinctive nature to help each other out without expectation, of anything coming back in return. Not only during disasters, but I would say, on average, that is our, most basic true nature. If you get people unplugged from TV and media and all of that, all the divisive things that aren't a part of our basic nature, right? So anyway, relative to the storm, and kind of focusing more on that to bring us back into that point, definitely going through any kind of storms. Especially, it doesn't just mean wind damage and all of that, also, or power outage. This is also for anybody going through extreme flooding, which seems to be happening right now. Unusually extreme flooding going on up in the more northern states, or north of Florida, that is. That's I'm going to jump to it. That's why I've got this Viking ship, incense burner. That's funny. It's later at night, like 7, and the rooster's going off. But anyway, this is to remind that, okay, if the flooding comes and storms comes, we have that indomitable spirit. We have the strength and the inner fire, just to float above the waves. They don't have to take us under. And if they do, we can keep kicking and swimming and fighting and keep going. That, inner resolve, that inner light goes on, connected with the higher power, highest powers. And, you've got a whole spirit team up there that does activate and come in and kick in and help save you, even if you're quote unquote alone and you need saving and it's your time to be, be saved and helped out. That team absolutely comes through. Then we've got, the candle is orange blossom. And just for, kind of a happy tone, look, it just went out. We got it just in time. But it's also a reminder that even though, okay, the flame went out there, we can light it again and relight it. It's never can never be completely extinguished. That is our inner, fire, our soul. So, and then we've got just some like beach rock, again, kind of a crossover and a bridging between, the earth and solid ground and the water. And then this one is interesting. That's a rock with kind of some fire properties to it, because it's a hydrothermal quartz intrusion in basalt. Okay, so the symbolisms here are just that, no matter what's going on, we are solid. We are on solid ground, even if it doesn't feel like it, because we've got that inner fire, and that anchors into something far greater than our quote unquote little human being, not little, but our human being material selves. Okay, anyway, back to this. So we have the giving freely and helping others out without expectation of anything coming back. We've got the magic and the moonlight, and again, to me, the moon is representing what I was just talking about with the flame, with our inner light that can never be extinguished. So even if it seems dark all around us, and in this case related to the storms, if the power's out or whatever, you don't have a generator, we always have that connection to this light that can never be put out. And then we have protection here, kind of tying into everything, is that we've got that spirit team, your guardian angelics, whatever you want to call it, God and Jesus, whomever you look to as your higher power, just your higher power, that's all synonymous. So it is that power, you know, that we cannot see with our physical eyes. At least a lot of us can't. Some people can. But it's that power that's there. So it's always kind of just like hovering over us, whether we see it or not. And it's there to protect us. And even through some of the worst of times, you know, I don't know if we touched on this. This is my second recording of this, trying it out. No matter what's going on, you know, it's kind of like that. It's kind of a very cheesy cliche. I don't like to use it, but they say, after the rain comes the rainbow. And that's what this is kind of symbolizing. You know, whatever, you know, hardships have been going on, there's always a new beginning. I mean, that's just the way the universe works and the cycle of how things work. So even though you might be in it, and it's uncomfortable, because if you're in Florida especially and you've lost your power and you've gone through that before especially, you know it ain't no fun. You've got, you know, the heat, extraordinary heat, and mosquitoes, and then you got to watch out if anybody's up to no good and tries to break in. So what I want to just say right now is I'm connecting in that, you know, even through the worst of this, just one foot forward in front of the other, reach out. You know, she's reaching out. Find your community. If you're all alone and never had friends, you know, friendly connections with your neighbors, now's the time to put that all behind you and reach out. You know, if you need help, don't try to do it all on your own. There's no point. This is a time for all of us to come together and help each other's community. Okay, and again, just one foot forward, you know, remove one tree branch at a time in these cases. And eventually there will be, of course, a new beginning. And, you know, here's to, you know, it being better and even brighter than before. Okay, so anyway, in essence, I could just sum this whole reading up with tremendous peace, love, and blessings to you, and protection over you and around you and all whom you love. And that's it for now. Perfect. Thank you. I was going to say peacock. Thank you, Rooster, for the nice, beautiful punctuation on the end of this video. Just best wishes to all. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.